What steps is Wizards of the Coast willing to take to save some money? Programs with AI-generated artwork can just go ahead and create Magic card art at a fraction of the cost of Magic the Gathering artists. So is Wizards of the Coast going to take that step? Are they eventually going to replace all the amazing artists we know with AI-generated artwork churned out by a computer? Well, in today's video, we're going to discuss that very possibility and what players can do to stand against it. Hey guys, welcome back. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. Now, I read a couple of articles about Wizards of the Coast being accused of generating AI artwork. Okay, it was in the Tomb Raider Secret Lair. Most of you guys probably read the article, and if you didn't, go take a look. Places like Dicebreaker and them have it up. It was interesting to read the article, and then I started to think about it. I started to hum and haw, as an old fogey who played Magic at the beginning, how I would feel if Magic artists disappeared. If the artists of old, artists that were new, creating the amazing artwork we know today, disappeared, and some program was just given some generic instructions and created some amazing Magic card art that we all get to enjoy. It didn't sit right with me. Now, before we continue the rest of this conversation, I'm on the side of the artist. I like the idea of original things. You know, you can take these amazing photographs of a mountainscape, okay? And it can look beautiful. And you can frame those giant photos nowadays. But I love painted artwork. I love the idea of it hanging in my house just like my parents did. And yes, it's probably an old fogey idea. So I'm definitely on the side of artists. But let's take it from a different perspective for this conversation. What are the pros and cons? As with any company that starts to evolve and tries to find ways to save money, like restaurants in some countries using robots to serve the food and doing away with servers, there is always going to be an evolution, a step forward that eliminates jobs. That comes to that thing, the Wall-E type movie world where it's like everything's done for you by computer, but you no longer have to work. Everything's just taken care of and you can do whatever you like, you know, just for fun. But that isn't here yet, is it? All these artists with these amazing skills, if they just all of a sudden evaporated, and I was left just looking at AI-generated art. And I took time to look at a whole bunch of pictures online of all this AI-created artwork, some fantasy, some cats and dogs, just to get a visual of what it looks like. And I went to some of the websites to check this out, to see how it all plays out. It's very easy to use. It's very easy to create. And no, I still don't think it looks as good as what artists can actually create with their minds, given an idea and a concept. But at the same time, things evolve and things change. The way we look at AI-generated art now doesn't mean that's what it's going to be like in 5 years. And Wizards of the Coast dipping their toe in with some background art or advertisement materials, I'm not surprised. They're trying to find ways to curb costs. And if you can have some lowly intern sit at a terminal and come up with some background stuff to look at some retro way of doing a background Fallout thing for a Tomb Raider type artwork style advertisement, I can just see that happening. I can just see them going ahead and doing it and thinking there's nothing wrong with it. And as a company trying to save money, trying to trim costs, in their eyes, there is nothing wrong with it. Nothing. They're just a company evolving and moving with the times. They don't care, at least they care enough that they don't want to get in trouble. But they actually don't care about the end result because companies are business and you have to trim the fat. You got to move things along and evolve or die. It's adapt or die type world. But in my mind, when I looked at all that AI-generated artwork, and it looked amazing. Many pieces I saw looked phenomenal. I wouldn't have known they were AI-generated. But there were other ones that you could really tell. And I said that evolution is going to take a long time. But does that mean that they are going to phase out Magic artists? Maybe, maybe not. The money-saving side of a company is going to say they definitely want to do it. But the practical side of anger and frustration of players who learn that their favorite artists are being replaced, and no, it is a very small minority. It is not the majority of players who care about the artists. It's just not a fact. It's not one of those things. I didn't start looking and paying attention to the artists until I was in my mid-20s. I didn't care who created Time Walk. I cared what the card did. I thought the art looked kind of cool, but I didn't care about the artists. I just looked at a cool picture. It's later, when you realize the time and effort it goes to make something. Another example, I remember going to the Art Gallery of Ontario, and it showed this amazing hand carved piece of wood. And it took this carver back in like the early 1800s. It took him something like a year and a half of time to carve this one piece of art for somebody to enjoy. It was like a wooden like building type thing, like it was like a whole background scene. But the point was, a machine could churn out 100 of those an hour with modern technology. What took somebody a year and a bit to do could be done hundreds an hour by a machine with a program built into it telling it what to do. That is the evolution of time. And when I saw that these articles were talking about it and how angry some players got, remember, it's a vocal minority, though, that can make a big stink about stuff. Now, does that mean, though, that at some point they don't care about your anger? They're going to try to beat you down. They're going to try to wear you down. They care about your anger now, but they're going to keep knocking at the door. Just like they knock at the door of the reserve list, they will knock at the door of the artists you love to try to dissuade you, to try to wear you down, to try to get you into that passive state of you just not caring anymore. And when you look at the jobs, and you say, okay, you have an AI-generated art computer that you can have 20 terminals creating tons of cards, different concepts, designs for the people to look at. Doesn't mean an artist wouldn't review this stuff. Doesn't mean artist jobs will disappear. You still have to have that kind of human input to make sure it fits with the card, fits with the concept. So there'd still be human eyes and stuff going on this, and they may hire artists for that later. But to picture that those people there at these terminals could replace every Magic artist. Every single one of them at a fraction of the cost. That's what that company's looking at. Ways to save money to benefit the company. And paying a Magic artist anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a painting, having to wait for approval, get sketches and designs in ahead of time, all that time wasted in the company's eyes would disappear. All those bills and invoice billing and contractual obligations to the artwork and the artists and how they're gonna, all the lawyer fees, everything is saved by a couple of computers. And that is a very hard argument to defeat from a company standpoint. Not us as the players, but from a company standpoint of how much money they could save. It is a very persuading argument to say to yourself, we can save X amount of dollars, replace all artists, have no delays, and be able to revamp artwork as we need to by saving an original piece and telling the AI to modify this or modify that. I don't know how it all intricately works, but imagine how good it's going to get over the next several years, and you kind of get a picture of how things are changing. We have all kinds of robots doing deliveries nowadays. You have self-driving cars, kinda. It's just the changing times, and it's freaking me as an old player, as an old person looking at this saying, you're going to replace Amy Weber? But think about what they could do. They could go to Amy Weber and say, hey, we saw your styles of artwork over the years. We're going to complete these into a computer to get your style of artwork. And this is the Amy Weber AI. And it's going to create Amy Weber artwork. Dan Fraser AI, Dan Fraser artwork. Now, depending on how they do this and how they reward those artists for all their hard years of working and being able to carry that artwork long after somebody's dead by continually regenerating artwork, this gets to the whole realm, which is way beyond my intellectual capacity to think about how much your intellectual property is worth, infinite amount of years, technically, because the computer could just keep going and going. It blows your mind to think about how far this could step. And again, when you draw this all back and you go back to the company standpoint, it is a cost savings they really can't ignore. Maybe for the moment they can. But as this AI gets better and better, gets fine-tuned, learns new things that we have taught it to do, the chances of it replacing certain aspects of Magic art creation, for all you know, they're already using the computers to actually help engineer the cards. Maybe they're getting reviewed by people still. They're not just given a blanket, hey, this card's going to be perfect every time. But you don't know what they're stepping into to see how these things work. They could really fine-tune some kind of AI to design the artwork, design the card, the packaging, marketing. Who knows how far these things will go, but it definitely reminds me of all kinds of those horror movies, everything from Terminator onward, about, artificial intelligence taking over. Again, that's the old Moxman in me. Because I know a lot of good comes from this stuff in the sense of what you can create and what you can do. Somebody who maybe never learned to draw can now type stuff in and create some visually appealing piece of artwork, I guess, right? It's amazing. It's still their creative mind putting in the things they'd like to see and I guess fine-tuning it. But I don't think this is the time to take away from all the magic artists over the years who have given us the phenomenal pieces of memories, history, passion into their artwork. When I look at all the amazing artists I remember now, looking back, Amy Weber being my #1 favorite, Dan Fraser, going through these people and saying, amazing. Looking at new artists, guys who create things like Sarah Paragon. I thought that artwork was amazing. History of New Benalia, stuff like that. Those saga artwork cards. When I look at all that amazing stuff, the idea of them being replaced, it makes me feel sick. Because somebody's losing a job. That's never a good thing. You don't know how their skills will translate into a new field. How it is for them to lose their source of income. And knowing that they help contribute to a game. And because a computer can mimic that, it all gets taken away. It's very hard for me to grasp the concept. It hurts me. So I, myself, am on the side of the artist for now. I hope the company will recognize that. I hope the little outpouring that they got on that Tomb Raider stuff will give them pause at least for a few more years. At least. Because you don't want to see this. I mean, I know it's not going to happen overnight. These things always get phased in over time. They got phased into the warehouses. DVDs got phased out. Laserdiscs got phased out. Oh, and then we started getting DVDs and Blu-rays. And now everything's digital and online. Look what happened to Blockbuster. Jumbo Video if you were here in Toronto. All those guys are gone. They're gone. What is there, one Blockbuster left in the whole world? It's the evolution of entertainment. The evolution of everything really can't be stopped. It can only be slowed down for so long before the company's going to say the benefits far outweigh the costs and the negativity backlash we may get. They may not do it all at once. They may keep their marquee artists on for years and years, maybe their whole careers. But they may have new artists coming up who never get a chance now because the computer can just do it with the input of some person on the back end. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. I found this a very intriguing topic, and the more I read, the more I started thinking about it, and I would love to get more of a wider range of conversational attitude here on the channel. Let me know what you guys think about the AI generated art, how you feel, recognizing that these things are kind of a real mire of conversation, but let me know. Slam some comments down in the comment section. Thanks again for stopping by the channel. And of course, if you made it this far in the video and you enjoyed today's content, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel, joining in the conversation here each and every day. Have an awesome day, guys. Enjoy it. I'll see you guys Saturday for the top 10 edition of Modern Selling Cards, the hottest selling cards in Magic that week. And of course, Sunday is the Reserve List Top 10. And that'll be all the hottest selling cards on the Reserve List this week. And then we're going to end things off with a live stream, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. I'll see you guys there. Have an awesome day today. And don't forget, bring a friend to Magic. Until they replace it with a computer? Oh, that's scary. This video is brought to you by the patrons and YouTube membership members of this channel. The amazing patrons who support this content each and every day and allow for daily uploaded content for everyone on YouTube to enjoy. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. Glad you guys all made it. I gotta be honest, guys. The more my mind thought about this, the wackier it got. I thought about the movie with Will Smith, the robot movie, AI, whatever it was. Then the Jelly Hole, what was that guy? The little kid from Sixth Sense. He was in that AI movie as well with Steven Spielberg, with Jude Law and stuff. And then you go all the way forward to things like Terminator. And you think about Skynet. You're going, so it starts with a computer that can play chess and checkers and stuff. Then it goes to computers that can answer your essays. Computers that can speak in different languages for you and translate them seamlessly back and forth. To cars that can drive themselves, to eventually my lights inside this room, probably robots controlling the lights and moving them exactly the way to make sure my face is framed right. I don't know where it's going to go. I'm glad I'm here to see the evolution of things change. I know how my grandma felt now when she said she first saw cars. Not the movie. I mean, actual automobiles on the road. I mean, God bless, she passed away at 101 years old, but she saw a lot from that late 1800s all the way up to the early 2000s, man. Crazy stuff. I mean, blows your mind to think how far we've come, right? But at the same time, we got a long way to go before most of this stuff becomes any real credible threat. I just hope people think about the consequences of creating the things they're creating. Skynet, baby. Anyway, thanks a lot for hanging out. Lots of questions, little answers. We'll see what you guys say in the comments section. Have an awesome day. I'll see you guys in the weekend.